Swordmasters are some of the flashiest fighters in Fire Emblem. They have cool animations, they frequently critically attack, they double often, and they have awesome skills like Astra that are really fun to watch. Let's talk about how they evolve throughout the series, and potentially talk about why people like them as much as they do. In Fire Emblem 1, Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light, they didn't exist in their purest form yet. I mean, Navarre existed, but as a mercenary and hero. His growth rates are reminiscent of a Swordmaster, although he is not one. In Fire Emblem Gaiden, Swordmasters aren't there, though Myrmidon was. Dreadfighter was kind of a precursor to the true Swordmaster class as well, but nevertheless, Swordmaster did not exist in Fire Emblem Gaiden. In Fire Emblem 3, Mystery of the Emblem, we have the same story as FE1, where the class didn't exist, but there was a character in Navarre who acted as a prototype of things to come. Finally, in Genealogy: The Holy War, we finally see the first true appearance of the Swordmaster. They had flashy critical animations, and the first instance of Astra, which is a skill that allows the unit to attack 5 times in a row. Pretty busted, honestly. Notable characters that had this class were Ira, Larce, and Shannon. And interesting enough, there were quite a few other characters that started as the unpromoted version of Swordmaster, but they promoted into Hero instead of Swordmaster. In Fire Emblem 5, Thracia 776, it was honestly very similar to FE4. The animations were about the same, and there wasn't much different as far as skills and abilities go. Notable members of this class line were Avel, Marita, Shiva, and Shanam. And this was the first instance of a male unit promoting from a sword fighter to a swordmaster instead of a hero, that character being Shiva. FE6 arguably has the best version of the Swordmaster. After promoting, Swordmasters receive plus 30 to their critical hit rate, which makes them excellent boss killers. And swords are honestly pretty good in FE6, as accuracy can be pretty low with other weapons. FE6 has also standardized the Myrmidon to Swordmaster promotion regardless of character or gender. Notable characters in this class line are Rutger, Fur, and Corel. Fire Emblem 7 Blazing Sword really did the Swordmaster class dirty. Really became a lot less fun to use. So instead of getting the plus 30 crit that they did in Binding Blade, they only get 15 crit upon promotion. And in FE7, 1 to 2 range is king. And there's really no good 1 to 2 range option besides a couple of magic swords in FE7 that aren't that great. So axes, lances, and magic are really king in FE7. And this is in large part because the enemy quality is so low in FE7, you don't need the high critical hit rate, it's basically overkill. Notable characters from FE7 in this class line are Guy, or Guy, depending on who you ask, Corel, and Carla. In FE8, branching promotions were added. Myrmidons could now become assassins in addition to Swordmasters, though I believe most people will say that Swordmaster is the better pick. Overall, they have the same issues as FE7 Swordmasters, being that the enemy quality is really low, and 1 to 2 range weapons are king. Axes and lances just kind of dominate the game with their javelins and hand axes, and of course magic is good as well. Notable characters from FE8 in this class are Joshua and Marissa. Fire Emblem 9, Path of Radiance, had the return of Astra as a mastery skill, acting almost identical to how it did in FE4 and FE5. Though it halved the damage dealt by each strike, so it was still 5 attacks, but it was only 50% damage. And on top of that, it wasn't free, you had to use an Occult Scroll, which is a special item you receive throughout the game, to learn this skill, and it took up the entire skill capacity, meaning they couldn't have any other skills equipped. Again, the lack of 1 to 2 range weapons really hurts the FE9 Swordmaster's enemy phase. There's a lot of 1 to 2 range enemies in Path of Radiance, and the enemy quality is again really low, so the game is ruled by lances and also by axes and magic. And also, movement is a really big thing in FE9. There's a lot of mounted units that have Canto as well. Really hurts Swordmasters in a big way. Notable members of this class in FE9 are Mia, Zahark, Stefan, and Lucia. Fire Emblem 10, Radiant Dawn, is the other game where Swordmasters are actually really good. They have good 1 to 2 range swords with the Wind Edge and the Tempest Blade, so that's not an issue anymore. And they get an extra promotion to True Blade, which unlocks their Astra skill for free. A fun bit of trivia is that male Swordmasters can hit the highest sword rank of SS before promoting to True Blade, whereas every other character needs to be in their tier 3 class to get to SS rank in their weapon type. For some reason, females can't do this though, and there are also some late game enemies that cheat this rule by having a special 2.5 tier class, where it's still called Swordmaster, but they're technically tier 3 in terms of stats and other things, but they don't have Astra. It's a weird thing they do in Radiant Dawn to do some enemy balancing, but yeah, that's the case. Members of the Swordmaster class line in Radiant Dawn are Edward, Zyhark, Mia, Lucia, and Stefan. FE11 and FE12 added the Swordmaster class to the remakes of FE1 and FE3 respectively. Still misses good 1-2 range. There's the Lightning Sword or the Levin Sword or whatever it's called in those games, but it still doesn't really quite make up for it. It's not that great of a class. You'd much rather have it be, in other classes. Notable members are Navarre, Rad, and Athena, and honestly there are a crap ton of other characters that can be in this class due to the reclassing system of Shadow Dragon and New Mystery of the Emblem. So there's almost a countless number of Myrmidons and Swordmasters available to you if you would like. Fire Emblem 13, which is Fire Emblem Awakening, it again has branching promotions like Fire Emblem 8. Every class in Fire Emblem Awakening learns skills upon reaching certain levels, and for the Swordmaster class, those skills are Astra at level 5 and Swordfare at level 15. Notable members of the class are Lon'qu, Seiri, and Owain, and of course, because of the reclassing system, a lot of other characters can become Swordmasters that we're not going to talk about here. Fire Emblem 14, Fates, introduced the Nor-Hoshido class divide, meaning half the classes are associated with the country of Nor, and the other half are associated with the Hoshido. Swordmaster is a Hoshidan class. The unpromoted class for Swordmaster in Fates is called Samurai instead of being called Myrmidon. Really, I think it's just to fit the more Japan-inspired aesthetic of Hoshido. The weapon balance is all over the place in Fates, so being locked to swords honestly isn't too bad. Granted, daggers are by far the best weapon type with their 1-2 range and stuff, and I guess swords are weak to daggers, so that is something to consider, but swords are honestly not nearly as bad as they are in some other games. One of the best characters in Fire Emblem Fates is in this class, being Ryoma, and again they learn Astra and Swordfare, just like they do in Fire Emblem Awakening. Other notable characters besides Ryoma are Hana, Hinata, and Hisame. I don't know if I said that last one right, or any of them right. Sorry about that. Next, we have Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia. It is a remake of FE2, and it's a pretty faithful remake, so again, Swordmasters are not present, though Myrmidon is present, and Dreadfighter again sort of acts like a Swordmaster in many ways. Finally, Fire Emblem Three Houses, the last game in the series, or the latest game in the series I should say, has an open class system, which means literally anyone can be a Swordmaster. Literally anyone. As long as they are level 20 and have an A rank or so, about an A rank. You can do it with less in swords. Their personal abilities, or I shouldn't say personal abilities, the class abilities for Swordmaster are Swordfare, which is plus 5 damage when using a sword, and Sword Crit plus 10, which is pretty self-explanatory, plus 10 crit rate while using a sword. They also learn Astra as a mastered combat art that takes 9 uses. Honestly, not that great of a combat art. It's a decent sword class, and you can make good use of it. It's honestly kind of like the end sword class. If you have someone just focusing swords, there's no reason to really have them leave that class once they hit level 30. Like, there's no reason to go to Mortal Savant, unless for whatever reason you want to use magic or whatever. Swordmaster is just kind of like the end of the swords class line in Three Houses, in my opinion. Now, I would say notable members of this class line, but there really aren't any notable members because anyone can be anything. I will mention Catherine, because it's her starting class, and she's really good. Felix, I guess you could mention as well. The game kind of tries to push you that way. But other than that, really anyone can be anything, so there's not really any members of that class line that are strictly like Swordmasters. Alright, well, that'll do it for this class history, or this evolution of the Swordmaster class. It's a fun topic to research and talk about, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please like the video and subscribe for more content like this. And if this video does well, we will do more in the future. I would actually really enjoy it, looking at other classes. Let me know what classes you want to look at in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time, friends.